Well, good morning again on Good Morning Geelong. I don't know if you saw it during the week, but there was considerable publicity given earlier this week to the trial of a man who had been accused, or stands accused, of the murder of another man down on the eastern beach some time ago. The thing that perhaps came through most of all, though, was the background of the person charged with the murder. It turns out that when he was 3 years old, his mother and stepsister were murdered. His own father was schizophrenic and alcoholic, and blamed him as a 3-year-old for the death of his mother. Now, you read a story like that and you say, well, what chance does a child going into a teenager, going into now someone charged with a horrific, senseless murder of someone, I think from my recollection was unknown to him, what chance have they got with that sort of upbringing? He's also been physically and sexually abused during his childhood, and I recalled as I read the story, the words of former prison chaplain Father John Brosnan, who worked for the best part of 40 years as a prison chaplain quite some years ago, but he used to often say of so many of the men that he was looking after as chaplain, their sins were written before they were born. And in other words, that they were born into, these men had been born into situations as children, as with this man, where really what hope would they possibly have? We spend a lot of we spend a lot of time on the whole notion of schooling and how important it is, and having the right sort of buildings and the right sort of teachers. But in the long run, the home environment is really the critical factor in the upbringing of children, and therefore in the way in which we enter into the adult world. One wonders, when we look at the binge drinking and the violence on the streets and so on, if we traced back the history of the perpetrators of this violence, it's not just the alcohol, it's not even just the drugs. Often enough, if you trace it back, you will find that their sins were written before they were born. They've come out of a situation where, why would we expect any different? Somehow or other, as we look at the social ills in our society, when we look at the fact that we find it a bit scary and nerve-wracking to walk down the street after a certain time of day, and maybe even some places even during the day, as we try to unravel this, it's not just a matter of putting up the price of alcohol. It's not even just a matter of trying to stamp out the illegal drugs, if we'll ever do that. But ultimately, it's the domestic home environment, which is such a formative part of a human being. And unless and until we start to do that better, and I'm not sure we're doing it all that well, there are so many elements that have altered in recent years, technology, social habits, the whole notion of parenting, childcare, all of these things thrown in together. We've changed a lot of things, and we're not necessarily seeing the result as being something that we're better for. So maybe bit by bit the penny might start to drop, and we'll have a better look at how we bring up children. And I speak, it's all very well for me. I haven't brought up any children. You watching, you probably have, and you'll say, well, what does he know about it? The answer is probably very little. But even so, the question is valid. It's often been said that what we do with children in the first 5, 7, 9 years of their lives determines the rest of their lives. Maybe we need to take that on board, and therefore the responsibilities that go with it, just a little more strongly, in order that the sort of ongoing violence and mayhem and depression and so on, so much of which commences at a very young age, that this can at least be minimised, and the trend that we're seeing at the moment can be reversed. Good to be with you on Good Morning Geelong.
This is where it all starts, from Her Majesty's Prison, Barwon, here on the outskirts of Lara in our great city of Geelong. And the water pipe, the water line, which is going to be taken, as we can see from the mounds of dirt that have already started to accumulate, that's where the pipeline starts, to take the C-grade water from HM in Prison Barwon all the way through 6.67 kilometres underground to the corner of Bacchus Marsh Road and Elcho Road, down Elcho Road, under Elcho Road, into the Elcho Park Golf Course. A great water initiative by the City of Greater Geelong in conjunction with the state government, continuing to be water wally wise in our great city of Geelong. And we're out at the Elcho Park Golf Course, a great part of our City of Greater Geelong, and joining us is Matthew Jackman, project manager for a very special project out here at Elcho Park. Tell us about it, Matthew.
Basically, it's just a almost 7 kilometre pipeline from the prison to the golf course. It'll, once fully constructed, it'll give us 30 megalitres of water to use on the golf course. So it'll be very worthwhile project and well needed.
A lot of foresight being put in this type of thinking to take the C-grade water from the Barwon Prison area and back in this wonderful Elcho Park golf course, which historically has been a dry area around Geelong.
Yeah, certainly, and also the golf course is one of our biggest water users for the council, so we did our water strategy for all councils' use, and Elcho Park was one of the biggest users, so that put the catalyst through to say what options have we got to reduce our water use for this part of the world. And the prison's got their system up there, which is an excellent treatment facility that they reuse for the prison, and they've got excess water. So we put a business case together to get the funds.
The process by which the water will be moved from the prison site down to the golf course, obviously underground piping and pumping?
Yeah, that's right. Just a simple pump. This pumps into a 155,000 litre tank at the prison treatment facility, and then another pump will then take it down the line to the dam that's on site here.
Now people will be saying, well, what is C-grade water as far as its worth to the golf course?
C-grade water is not suitable for drinking. It's just the recycled water from the prison's wastewater system. Suitable for putting on golf courses. There's some restrictions on the type of use and where you use it for public access type thing, but it's quite suitable for grass.
And of course, this is just another one of the many projects of its nature, environmentally friendly, using better water wiser around Geelong.
Oh, certainly. There's heaps of water projects up and around. So yeah, this is one of the bigger ones, and it's worthwhile. We've got another one coming up for Splashdown Leisure Time Centre that's be starting in the next couple of months, recycling water to that part of the world.
Matthew Jackman, the project manager of, yes, a very important project using potable water, but it's coming from the Barwon Prison all the way for use on the Elcho Park golf course.